Right, Shannon, thank you. There have been a bunch of bummed-out customers on Newbury Street who frequent the J.P. Licks location there. They've recently learned that spot is shut down. No worries, J.P. Licks is doing fine, but they were forced to close that location because apparently the landlord was jacking up rent looking for a bigger tenant. And J.P. Licks not alone. John McGeo, the good-looking half of McGeo and LaMacchia. Did I get that right, by the way?
You definitely did.
According to the website, anyway. Joining us live this morning to talk more about this. And John, we're also hearing about the Purple Shamrock. The long location's been down there at Faneuil Hall for a lot of years. Also looking at a possibility of them shutting down because of a situation where the landlord is looking to jack up the rent. Are you finding that this is a trend out there now?
Not really. I mean, those are... J.P. Licks, as an example, is really on the most ideal street in all of Boston. I mean, Newbury Street is kind of the mecca of retail. You've got an international clientele, so that landlord has tremendous leverage. You don't see that as you go farther out into the suburbs, if you're looking at Framingham, commercial space. So I don't see it as a trend, but I understand it to some level.
It would seem to me that if you're a landlord, you'd want to have a reliable tenant who's been there with a good customer base, and if they're already established, you do everything you could to keep them.
Yeah, you would think that, but also I think with J.P. Licks, as an example, they're looking for a larger tenant. So if they can rent out more space for slightly more money, then, or even if it's the same, but they can get more square footage rented out, then it makes sense from a business perspective.
They talk about the housing market. Well, this is a buyer's market or a seller's market. With the way things are going now in businesses, is this a landlord's market as opposed to a small business owner's market?
I'd say it depends once again on the area.
Yeah.
You know, parts of Boston, say Back Bay, you've got the lowest commercial vacancy rate really anywhere. It's, I think, below 4% or right around 5%. So I wouldn't say that landlords have leverage in those areas, but I wouldn't say, once again, as you go outside the city, they have that same leverage. Not as much as buyers, especially in the residential space. Right. Buyers still have tremendous leverage.
If you're a small business and you're looking for a place, you're looking for a location, what types of lease terms should you be looking at? What types of things might you be able to get in this market right now?
I mean, you want to look long term. 5 years, 10 years, you're always going to get better square footage rates. You also want to try and do as much of the build out, work that into the lease so there's less out-of-pocket costs for you.
So you're talking about build out if you want your store designed in a certain way or you want some shelving or things of that nature.
That's right. Knock out walls, raise ceilings, do whatever you need to do, but have the landlord pick that cost up so they can actually stretch the cost throughout the term of the lease.
So if you are out there looking now, you can get a pretty good deal. And again, of course, it's location.
Yeah, no question. I mean, J.P. Licks is just moving over to, I think it's Charles Street in Beacon Hill. So I think they're going to do fine. Once again, Newbury Street is just kind of an aberration.
Right. Well, they call it the high rent district.
That's right.
For a reason. John McGeo, appreciate your insight this morning as always.
Thank you,
appreciate your time. Got to take a break.
Thanks for the compliment.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. That's what others told me, man. I'm just going with the facts. Don't tell Anthony that, though. We got to take a break. We'll continue.